Today I'm wearing my glasses so that I look like someone that you could take financial advice from. Hello hikers! Today we are going to be going into detail about how much you can expect to spend on the AMATOLA hiking trip. I will be sharing my personal expenses. You might spend more or less depending on whether you're a budget hiker like me or a luxury hiker like part of me thinks I am. I will not be covering gear in this video. Let's just assume you already have all of that covered, okay? Cool. Your first expense is the AMATOLA package. This ranges from 1,900 Rand to 2,500 Rand. There's also discounts for students and scholars. The package includes your accommodation for the hike and after the hike. That's what makes the biggest difference in the price. So if you decide to camp, then you're looking more at the 1.9, and if you want your own private room, then that's more towards the 2.5. I paid 1,600 Rand for the hike and stayed in a dorm. Travel costs. So this will vary greatly depending on which mode of transport you are using and where you are coming from. We decided to drive down from Johannesburg to Hogsback. That is just short of 900 kilometers. Petrol and tolls came to 5,000 Rand, and that was divided amongst the 5 of us. So 1,000 Rand each for transport. Next you have your food. Food for the AMATOLA. Got a video on that. I've broken down the food into 3 parts. Food for the AMATOLA trail, food at the accommodation, and food for the road. We'll start with food for the road. My advice, if you are driving down, pack food. Food on the road cost me 376 Rand. This includes snacks that I had brought already and also buying food on the way there and back. Food for the hike. It was a bit tricky to get an exact number for this expense. My bill came to about 1,200 Rand when I was buying all the stuff I needed for the hike. However, I didn't take the whole bag of everything that I bought. For example, with the olive oil and my nuts and things like that, I decanted a whole bunch of items. Yeah, I would estimate that between 700 and 800 Rand. It's probably a little bit less, but I think that would be a safe bet. So let's go with 750. At the accommodation, when we arrived that night, I bought food. There's a kitchen and everything, so you can bring food to cook for dinner. That way you can also save a little bit. I don't drink alcohol and I don't eat meat, so I'm actually a very cheap date. Dinner for both nights came up to just 180 Rand. That brings our total for the AMATOLA hike to 3,906 Rand. Just what you need to get there, do the hike, and come back. If you do need some extras, this is what you're looking at. An airport shuttle, that is between 1,500 and 2,400 Rand each way. So if you fly down, just consider that additional cost. Goodie drop. This is really helpful if you don't want to carry the weight of 6 days of food in your backpack. So it's 1,500 Rand for a drop-off at Day 2's hut and 500 Rand for a drop-off at Day 5's hut. They are also willing to deliver pizza to you. Oh, by the way, Day is away with the ferries. A private room, roughly 600 Rand. This is worth it if you find that after spending 7 days with your hiking companions, that you just need some time alone to relax and recoup before the long drive back to Johannesburg. Maps are 70 Rand. The group gets 1 free map. I think it's best to have at least 2 maps in the group, you know, just in case. Trinkets, plus minus 100 Rand. There are some AMATOLA branded goodies that you can get at Away with the Ferries. Also, they sell random hiking stuff like socks and gas canisters. So, yeah. Emergency or unexpected events, anything can happen on the trail. Budget 1,500 Rand for extractions for non-life-threatening emergencies. That brings my total to 4,476 Rand. That's 559 Rand 50 per day. If you have done this trail, I'm curious to know how much it cost you. And if you haven't, then hopefully this gives you some insight as to how much you would need to budget in order to do the AMATOLA hiking trip. Thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this, but even if you don't want to see more, I'm still going to make more because I'm having a good time. Ciao!